Morocco, French colony, 1942. Canadian agent Max Vetten quietly arrives in the country to perform a secret mission. In the desert, he is picked up by a local contact. In the car, the man gives our hero everything necessary for the successful completion of his difficult mission, and in the evening, brings him to an expensive restaurant. This is where Max has to meet his partner for the first time. The girl brings the guy to the table and introduces him to her friends. According to legend, the guys are a married couple. They had to be separated for a long time because of a lot of work. Our heroes managed to get into the role well, so no one at the table doubted it. Soon Max politely apologizes to everyone present and takes his wife home to be alone with her. At home, the guys get to know each other for real. The girl's name is Marion. She is a member of the French resistance. 2 months ago, she was transferred to the local embassy to monitor the German mission. A reception will be held in Casablanca in 10 days, at which our heroes should be present. There they will have to neutralize the German ambassador. You can only get to this event by invitation, so Max has yet to get it. Left alone, the guys talk only about the task. They agreed not to discuss their personal lives, because it could harm their common cause. According to local tradition, husbands spend nights on the roof, and loving wives come to visit in the evening. In order not to arouse suspicion from curious neighbors, our heroes do the same. On the roof, the guys have to imitate an enthusiastic conversation. Therefore, Max decided to share his dream with the girl. After the war, he's going to move to a prairie ranch and start a new life there. At parting, Marie asks to kiss her, so that the neighbor watching them does not have any questions. In the morning, the girl teaches Max Parisian pronunciation and brings him up to date. Also, exquisite clothes and French perfume have already been prepared for the man. To get a pass, the guys need to join the social life in a short time. Dressed up, they come to a crowded place and sit down at a table in full view of everyone. Soon Max notices a German officer, whom he has already encountered in one of the previous assignments. The Nazi also recognized the man. He calmly gets up and goes to the telephone. In order to avoid the failure of the mission, our hero has to neutralize the German officer so that it looks like an accident. The risky trick was a success. The guys continue to stick to the plan. In the evenings, they make new acquaintances, and when they are alone, they pretend to be a happy couple. Soon, Marie arranges a meeting for Max with her boss, who is just engaged in issuing invitations to the reception. Arriving at the embassy, our hero carefully examines the exits and scouts the situation. Preparations for the event are in full swing, so no one pays attention to a curious man. Marie joins Max and together they are invited to the office. The guys are professionals in their field, although with difficulty, but they manage to deceive the boss and get the missing invitation from him. At night before an important task, our heroes can't sleep. Max offers to go to the desert and meet them there, maybe the last dawn in their lives. Sitting on the sand, the guys discuss their chances of success. They agree that they are quite small. Later, they dream of a happy post-war life. A strong wind is rising in the desert, and the guys have to get back into the car. Left alone under a curtain of sand, they can no longer hold their own. In the evening, the guys put on their best clothes, and they go to the reception. According to the plan, the ambassador should go out to the guests at 8:30, and in 5 minutes. The partisans will blow up the car at the entrance to cause panic and distract attention to themselves. Weapons are also prepared under the table for our heroes. A little late, the German ambassador appears in the hall, and a minute later, there is an explosion. Max pulls out a gun and shoots his target in cold blood, as well as all the other armed Nazis. The girl has to kill her friend's husband, who picked up the gun of the murdered officer. The agents manage to successfully complete their task. Together they leave the city by car.
You and I are both alive.
Let's go to London and marry me. The action of the film is transferred to London 3 weeks after the events that took place. By this time, Lieutenant Colonel Vetten had managed to transfer to staff work. Once he came to the office, he was immediately called to the boss's office. The man tells Max the good news. The intelligence department finished checking on Marion and allowed her to move to London. Frank is skeptical about this idea. He reminds a friend that marriages made on a mission don't last long. Smiling, Max invites his boss to the wedding. Despite all the horror of wartime, our heroes arrange for themselves a real holiday with a wedding cake and champagne. In the midst of the event, an air alarm is heard, but the lovers do not pay any attention to it. In the next scene, Marie is taken out of the burning maternity hospital. The bombing of the city has begun, and the girl has to laugh right on the street in such extreme conditions. Max has been around and supports his beloved all this time. A new life comes into this world, and it seems that our heroes do not care at all what is happening around them now. The girl was named Anna. A year has passed. The guys live happily together in a London house. Max is still working at the headquarters, and Marie is raising her daughter. The man was given a weekend off for the first time in a month, so the guys plan for themselves. They are going to invite friends and have a party for everyone. At lunchtime, the phone rings in the house. Max is urgently called to work in the secret department.
What the hell is so important there?
Freedom of your country. It seems to our hero that they want to offer him another task. Entering the office, he apologizes in advance and politely refuses. From the expressions on their faces, we understand that the situation is much more serious. An unknown person informs Max that his wife is in fact a German spy, and they have substantial evidence of this. From a recent interrogation of a German officer, it became known that Marion was executed back in 1941, and her identity was transferred to a German agent with a similar appearance. It also turned out that the German ambassador killed in Casablanca was actually a dissident, and Hitler personally ordered his removal. Max refuses to accept what he has heard. He is firmly convinced that his wife has nothing to do with it, and all the evidence is false. The man is offered to carry out a standard verification procedure. Tonight he will be called home, and dictated false secret data that will need to be written down and left in a prominent place. If this information is encrypted in the next radio interception, then the suspicions will turn out to be true, and Max will have to personally execute his wife. Otherwise, he will be considered an accomplice and hanged for treason. If Lieutenant Colonel Vetten is right, and his wife is really innocent, then this conversation can be forgotten as a terrible dream. Go back home, and behave as if nothing had happened. Back home, Max tries not to show it. In the evening, the bell rings at the specified time. The notebook with the notes remains in a prominent place. In the morning, Max informs his wife that he is going to buy drinks for guests, but in fact, he comes to the hospital. To a person who personally knows Marion. Violating the order, the lieutenant colonel begins his own investigation. Unfortunately, the man was seriously wounded in battle and blinded, so he can't make an identification from a photo. But he calls the name of a person who is also familiar with the girl. This is Monsieur Delamare, a French partisan living in Pitt. Later, Max arrives at a military airfield and searches for a pilot who is flying to France today. He gives the guy a picture of his wife and asks him to find out from Monsieur Delamare who is depicted on it. No one has to know, okay? Yes, sir. You can count on me. In the evening, a large company of strangers gathers at the Vetten house. Everyone gets drunk and has fun. But Max is not up to it at all. All evening, he attentively observes the interlocutors of his wife. A work colleague gets very drunk and, left alone, shares his information with a friend. George knows that Max has been assigned a secret assignment, but it seems to him that this is just a check before the next promotion. Since the position is very responsible and it cannot be obtained by a regular interview. After this conversation, Max returns to the living room and looks at his wife with relief. Soon his boss appears in the house. He reports that a plane has just been blown up in France due to the fact that the pilot greatly delayed the departure following his order. After hearing this, Max approaches his assistant, and he asks her when the next flight to France is. Suddenly, enemy planes appear in the sky. The bombing of London begins. We see the work of air defense. We hear the hum of sirens. One of the downed planes changes its course and starts falling right into their area. Max, seeing this, runs into the house and covers his wife and child. With a hum, the plane sweeps over the roof and crashes right behind the house. In the morning, our heroes, not noticing the horror around them, enjoy ordinary family life, sitting in the backyard. But their rest didn't last long. Max was determined to find out everything. In the evening, he again takes a photo of his wife and arrives at the military airfield. This time, he takes the helm of the plane himself to deliver the cargo and personally question the French partisan. At Dieppe Airport, he is told that Delamare has recently been arrested. Vetten asks to take him urgently to the police station to the detainee. The partisans easily manage to get into Delamare's cell. But the man is too drunk and can't clearly answer questions. At the end of the conversation, Delamar nevertheless shares one interesting story about Marion, in which a girl played the piano surrounded by an enemy. Returning home, Max asks to give the child to a neighbor and go with him. The guys come to a bar where a musical instrument is installed. Max asks to play the Marseillaise for him, just like the time when the girl was surrounded by German soldiers. In tears, the girl confesses that she is a German spy. She is very sorry that everything turned out that way. After all, she really loves Max. The girl wanted to stop her activities, but the Germans began to threaten their daughter. It also turned out that the girl had already given that false message, which means that soon Max will be ordered to execute his wife. Our heroes love each other, so they decide to flee the country together. Max eliminates the rest of the German agents, and taking Anna, they all arrive at the military airfield together. While Max is preparing the plane for launch, the girl is sitting in the back seat of the car with the baby. Soon Frank arrives at the plane and blocks their departure. He says that the encryption with fake data has been intercepted, which means there is only one correct way out. Otherwise, death awaits them both, and baby Anna will become an orphan. Because of his love for his wife, our hero cannot decide on this act. Meanwhile, the girl takes a gun in the glove compartment and hugs Anna for the last time. Let us go, Fran.
Max, take care of her.
Fran tells the soldiers who came up that Lieutenant Colonel Wetton personally executed an enemy agent. The day before, the girl wrote a farewell letter. She guessed that her identity might be revealed. In it, the girl confesses her love to her husband. Also in the letter, she addresses her daughter. Tells her that the year they lived together in London was the best time of her life. At the end of the film, we see Max with an already grown-up Anna walking around the ranch.